moving ahead, we talked about the last topic that we talked about was encephalitis. The only thing that was left was what is the treatment provided. There is no antiviral treatment, so what we can do to prevent it is actually take symptoms to supportive symptoms to relieve symptoms and to stabilize the patient. What we can do actually to not get through is the vaccines for Japanese encephalitis, which is also included under the universal immunization program. The second most important news, third most important news, is the registration of indigenous inhabitants of Nagaland. Basically, it is more like a step towards NRC, towards Nagaland. It is for those indigenous people who have been born and brought up, जो पैदा हुए हैं नागालैंड में, उनके लिए है. So what the government did was create a register of indigenous inhabitants of Nagaland. What does indigenous inhabitants means? जो वहाँ के locals हैं उनके लिए है. Now, what is the main aim? It is to check any कोई fake indigenous inhabitant certificate तो नहीं किसी को चला गया. Anybody has not got a fake certificate. It is also an exercise to prepare something which has to be done within a period of 60 days. It will be done through extensive surveys, which will be through village. People will be going to check on the official records and also under the supervision of district administration. Now, very interestingly, no new certificate, inhabitant certificate, will be issued during this time, except for children born to the state indigenous inhabitants. So, if you have not taken a certificate, you're already born, you will not get the certificate, we'll get it later. But right now, it will only be issued to the students or the children who are born to the indigenous people. At the same time, very interesting thing, to travel or in the isolated areas of Nagaland, you get a permit known as the Inner Line Permanent Permit, which is a temporary document for non-inhabitants to travel in this area. It is also called, as I told you, it's a NRC variant of the state of Assam. Now, the next most important news that we have is One Nation, One Ration Card scheme. It basically comes under your Right to Food Act. Now, very interestingly, let's recap. If anybody can recap, on under which article does the Right to Food Act come under? It comes under Article 21 of the Indian Constitution. It was passed in the year 2013, the Right to Food Security Act. Now, very interestingly, let's understand it. By July 2020, there's an implementation of One Nation, One Ration Card. So entire nation में एक ration card ही चलेगा. But very interestingly, to get all the benefits, you have to link it up with your Aadhaar to get the benefits. What do you get the benefits is basically you get rice at 3 rupees per kilo, you get wheat at 2 rupees per kilo. इससे फ़ायदा क्या हो जाएगा कि basically जो आपका root out, it is to root out the corruption. And secondly, but it will not be applied to state subjects. Say for example, कोई state की खुद की scheme है, उसके अंदर ये चीज़ नहीं होएगा. So it also will root out the extra cards which are there. It is also, very interestingly, it is supposed to target 75% of the rural population and 50% of the urban population. And 77% of the ration cards already have a scheme, have the machines known as point of sale machines, so where you can be implemented. इससे फ़ायदा क्या होएगा? जो marginalized workers हैं, जो दूसरी state में काम कर ढूंढने जाते हैं, उनको राशन available होएगा, not only in their state but all across India. And the government of India has given this 1 year's time to be implemented all across India. Now, moving on, इसके key objectives are very important. As it was said, it will include transparency and efficiency. Secondly, to identify the fake duplicate ration cards. Beneficiary is entitled food grains at fair price shops of the choice of the national level. Food security of migrant labor who moves to other states seeking better job opportunities, which I have already talked about. The next thing that the government of India launched was the Jal Shakti Abhiyan. This is very important. It is for recharging the water resources, and it was launched by 1st July 2019. It has two programs to it. One is during the monsoon season and one is during the retreating season. The monsoon season, as we know, is from 1st July to 15 September, and the retreating is from 1st October to the 30th of November 2019. Retreating monsoon, let's understand ये कहाँ पे generally hit करती है? Tamil Nadu में, whereas the entire monsoon hits the entire India except for Tamil Nadu. तो ये दो stages में launch की गई थी स्कीम. अब इसमें बात करते हैं बेसिकली ये किस स्कीम के अंडर आती है, किस गवर्नमेंट अथॉरिटी के अंदर आती है. इट इज़ अंडर द जल शक्ति मिनिस्ट्री एंड इट इज़ अंडर द डिपार्टमेंट ऑफ ड्रिंकिंग वाटर एंड सैनिटेशन. अब इसमें बेसिकली क्या चाह रहे हैं कि वो चाहते हैं कि इंटायर जो वाटर स्ट्रेस डिस्ट्रिक्ट एंड ब्लॉक्स हैं उसके अंदर इस पर काम किया जाए. So government of India has allotted some money for it. At the same time, इसके 5 basic objectives क्या हैं, और ये एक और very interestingly Jal Shakti Abhiyan has also been launched with collaboration with the farmers under the scheme Krishi Vigyan Kendras. Now, as the Krishi means, it means agriculture, Vigyan means knowledge, Kendras. उसमें क्या बात किया जाएगा, how can the water resources be better utilized and कौन सी crops better रहेंगी in the scarcity to be used so that the water level does not dip down. इसके 5 बेसिक ऑब्जेक्टिव्स हैं. लेट्स अंडरस्टैंड इट. फर्स्ट ऑफ ऑल वाटर कंजर्वेशन एंड रेन वाटर हार्वेस्टिंग, जिस पे मेन बात किया जाएगा. रेनोवेशन ऑफ ट्रेडिशनल एंड अदर वाटर बॉडीज़ जो अब ख़त्म हो चुकी हैं, उनको वापस रिफर्बिश किया जाएगा. अब आप देखते हो जयपुर में या राजस्थान में जो आपके सराइज होते थे, जो फुटवेल्स होते हैं, उनको रिफर्बिश किया जा रहा है, उनको पानी कंट्रोल करना आता है. नेक्स्ट, रीयूज़ ऑफ वाटर, रिचार्जिंग ऑफ द स्ट्रक्चर्स, हाउ कैन वी रीयूज़ द वाटर. नेक्स्ट इज वाटरशेड डेवलपमेंट एंड इंटेंसिव फॉरेस्टेशन. एज आई सेड अगेन, इट विल बी collaboration with farmers under Krishi Vigyan Kendras. What is to be discussed, कौन सी better types of crops है जो आप use कर सकते हो. Other station schemes, can anyone think about what does other station scheme about? It is generally about betterment of railway facilities in India, and जो आपके platforms हैं उनको better करने के लिए है. So it is, अगर railways है तो it will be done under the Indian Rail Department. अब इसमें हम देखते हैं कि क्या क्या बेसिक चीज़ें हैं जो आपके सब अर्बन स्टेशन हैं, नॉट अर्बन, सब अर्बन स्टेशन दैट आर नॉट टू फेमस, उनको क्या क्या इंप्रूव किया जाएगा. फर्स्ट ऑफ ऑल आपका फैकेट चेंज किया जाएगा. फैकेट क्या होता है? आउटर स्ट्रक्चर. सो योर एंटायर आउटर स्ट्रक्चर इज गोइंग टू बी चेंज फॉर इट. द सेकेंड इज द streaming traffic flow. How do you streamline traffic? We generally see outside the railway station a lot of traffic jams are there, so how do we reduce it? Third is improvement of the platform surface. So they are going to be rather than using the old stone, they're going to be refurbishing with the new stone. Next is improvement of existing waiting halls and retiring rooms. जो fans नहीं चलते उन सबको change किया जा रहा है. Toilet facilities are to be improved. Overbridges are to be provided. And also lift and escalator, that it is done, जो हम देखते हैं urban centers में already हो चुका है. Next is National Mission of Libraries. ये generally Culture Ministry के अंदर आता है. ये basically is what's its purpose is, हर एक यूटी या डिस्ट्रिक्ट में एक लाइब्रेरी हो, नेशनल मॉडल लाइब्रेरी हो. इस अब देर आर, अगर हम बात करें वेरी इंटरेस्टिंगली, वी आर लाइक टू गो इन बिट ऑफ सिविक्स. हमारे पास 3 सब्जेक्ट्स होते हैं, स्टेट लिस्ट, कंकरेंट लिस्ट एंड यूनियन लिस्ट. जो लाइब्रेरी मैनेजमेंट होता है वो होता है स्टेट लिस्ट में. बट सिमिलरली देयर आर सर्टेन लाइब्रेरीज अंडर द सेंट्रल गवर्नमेंट जिनका ये सब नाम दिया हुआ है. यू कैन जस्ट गो थ्रू इट. अब जो मिनिस्ट्री ऑफ कल्चर है उसने 2012 में ये पॉलिसी फॉर्मेशन की थी. अब जो नेशनल मिशन ऑफ लाइब्रेरीज, उसका मेन ऑब्जेक्टिव क्या है? इट इज़ टू रिलेटेड टू इंस्टीट्यूशनल इंफ्रास्ट्रक्चर विच वुड एनेबल इंडिया टू मीट चैलेंजेस ऑफ द फ्यूचर, एंड इट इज़ ऑल्सो financial assistance to be provided for upgradation of state and central library, and one district library has to be there in each state and UT. That's the main objective. Now let's understand privilege motion. Why I'm doing privilege motion? In July something happened. It is about Mohina Mitra. It is a news that came in. One Hindi news channel had propagated that she used a plagiarized speech in the case of Parliament, but she herself had said it in the Parliament that she was not using a plagiarized speech, but she had actually copied the speech from so and so department. So then she filed a privilege motion. Now, what is the privilege motion? Let's understand according to the polity sphere. Privilege motion is when, say for example, a minister, an MP enjoys, and there's been some misreporting of the proceedings in Lok Sabha or Rajya Sabha, he can file a privilege motion against a guilty party. Now what is basically a privilege committee will be formed. A privilege committee में कौन-कौन member होता है? In case of Lok Sabha, the speaker is the one who chooses the chairman, and there'll be 15 members of all political parties who will be a part of it. Similarly, in Rajya Sabha, the deputy chairperson heads the committee. The deputy chairperson, as I said again, let's understand, does not has to be from the ruling party or has to be from the opposition party. He can be from any party which enjoys or commands strength in Rajya Sabha. So deputy chairperson will be heading the committee of privileges, which will consist of 10 members. Next comes National Youth Corporate Scheme. Now very interestingly, let's go back to something that we've done earlier in geography. What is the age group of the adolescents age group? That is from 10 to 19. What percentage of population is this adolescents group? 20.8% according to 2011 census. The National Youth Corporation is basically under the Department of Youth Affairs, Ministry of Youth Affairs and Sports के अंडर आता है. इसके अंदर जो स्कीम है वो थी नेहरू युवा केंद्र संगठन, उसके थ्रू आप क्या कर रहे हो, यू आर ट्राइंग टू चैनलाइज द यूथ फॉर नेशनल बिल्डिंग पर्पसेस. तो कोई भी यूथ जो 18 से 29 साल का है, 18 ईयर्स टू 29 ईयर्स, कैन सर्व 2 years इन दिस स्कीम. व्हाट इज़ द मेन ऑब्जेक्टिव इज़ बेसिकली टू हेल्प इन नेशन बिल्डिंग. जब वो 2 years सर्व करता है, he'll be giving a honorarium of 5,000 per month, but there is no guarantee of job here. You cannot ask for extension beyond 2 years, and you cannot ask that you were provided job earlier, why you're not getting a job earlier. Now, it is also to facilitate the realization of inclusive growth, that is both social and economic, and also to act as a point of dissemination of information as well as basic knowledge to community. ये सब है. अब हम बात करते हैं आधार and its voluntary use. This is the last article that I'll put in this. Now, very interestingly, Aadhaar bill was passed, but there's an amendment brought to it in 2019 for voluntary use as the information. Now, the best way that we can go through it is there's a difference that have made salient features of the Aadhaar bill that was earlier to salient features of the Aadhaar bill that are now. Now, let's understand first of all, when was Aadhaar formed? Aadhaar actually came to existence in the year 2009. It was then under the control of the Planning Commission, which is no longer a body that is there. The Aadhaar was under a body known as Unique Identification Authority of India. It became a statutory body in the year 2016 by the Act, and as we know, Aadhaar card is a 12-digit number. Now, what are the provisions that they have changed? क्या चीज़ें उन्होंने चेंज की हैं इस बिल में, एंड व्हाट आर द चेंजेस दैट वर देयर अर्लियर, वील बी डिस्कसिंग अबाउट इट. The first important is the restrictions. As we know, the Act provides, in the earlier provision, the Act provides for the use of Aadhaar number as a proof of identity of a person subject to authentication. But अब Aadhaar will be only established, जो इंडिविजुअल है वो वॉलंटरी यूज़ कर सकता है अपने आधार को टू एस्टैब्लिश आइडेंटिटी बाय वेरिफिकेशन और ऑथेंटिफिकेशन. पहले क्या था, आधार नंबर वॉज इन, जब सब्जेक्ट होता है कि भाई उसे बोला जाता है कि आपको प्रूफ ऑफ आइडेंटिटी दिखाना है, तब वो यूज़ कर सकता था. सेकेंड चीज़ क्या था कि आधार को पहले कौन मांग सकता था, रिस्ट्रिक्शंस ऑन सिक्योरिटी एंड कॉन्फिडेंशियलिटी, एंड इसके लिए आप से आधार मांग सकते थे. किस कंडीशन पे, रिस्ट्रिक्शन एंड सिक्योरिटी के लिए कौन मांग सकता था, डिस्ट्रिक्ट कोर्ट. बट नाउ हु कैन आस्क फॉर दिस इन्फॉर्मेशन, इट्स द हाई कोर्ट. They made it more difficult. Similarly, earlier an officer of the rank of joint secretary could ask for your Aadhaar, but now it is only can be done in the case of the secretary. Another provision that is, जो पहले revenue सारा इकट्ठा होता था आधार के अंदर, वो जाता था consolidated fund. Can you please give me the article for consolidated fund? Let's understand, revise. It's article 266. Now, this will not go in the consolidated fund, but it will go in the Unique Identification Authority of India fund. So that does for the basic articles right now. I'll be continuing with this. There'll be around 20-30 videos related to this. So I'll be continuing with this.